This is a presentation of Northeast Streaming Sports.
Introducing National Streaming Sports, live and on-demand sports talk programming that you can access 24/7. For the premier sports talk experience, tap into our Roku channel. Start your mornings with Mac and Jack covering all the weekend sports action. Then pour a cup and enjoy all the sports you can drink on the Coffee and Sports podcast. At midday, talk sports from east to west on the Coast to Coast podcast. Followed at night by some hot girl talk with Prim and Proper Sports featuring Sonia Pearson. Talk boxing on the Gloved Fist. Yankee fans tune in for Start Spreading the News. And there's more on the College Sports Huddle and Sports Scope with Robert Butler. There are 20 podcasts in all and 70 weekly shows giving us a 3.4-star viewer rating. To find us on Roku TV, search for National Streaming Sports on the Roku search bar. Click on the logo and you're in. National Streaming Sports, live and on-demand sports talk for America.
All right, everyone, and happy Saturday morning to the Dr. Sem Yankees Show. We are here on YouTube, on Twitter, on Roku, on so many different platforms with the Northeast Streaming Sports Network, the National Sports Network. And it's great to be here. I'm home. And as you know from seeing my show all these last many weeks, I have not been home for quite a while. So it's great to be home again. A reminder here, of course, as we start the Dr. Sem Show here on Saturday, February the 1st, 2025, that this program is brought to you by Artemisia Publishing. Artemisia is a traditional publisher, which means they do it all the right ways. Authors don't pay to have their books published. They get paid to have their books published. Artemisia, located in New Mexico, in the good old USA, a huge selection by Artemisia of fantastic books across many different genres, not just sports, but they do have a great selection of sports books, including numerous books written by me, including From Compton to the Bronx, the least among them, 365.2, A Runner's Journey. And coming in 2026, I just submitted the manuscript about a week or so ago, a brand new book from me focused on the Yankees. So stay tuned for that and lots more. Remember also that my site, where you can find this podcast, the Start Spreading the News podcast, and 3 fantastic articles, all original, all written by human beings, startspreadingthenews.net. We put up articles every single day at 6 a.m., 10 a.m., and 2 p.m. And during the season, we have game threads. And you know what? That baseball season is coming soon. So check us out at Start Spreading the News. Check us out multiple times every day. We are the absolute best in the business. No doubt about that. Hey, let's make today a great day. How do you make your day great? It's easy. You look for the good. You take the good in and you appreciate it. And when you look around the world in your own life and you see good things, you can't help. You cannot help but have a good day. Yes, there are going to be bad times. Yes, there's going to be struggles. But deep down, you know things are going to be okay. Look to the good, appreciate the good, and then perpetuate the good. Give the good to others. Help make their days great. And that will make your day even better. And if you can't find the good, if there is no good anywhere in your life, well, then create some and also spread that forward. Remember, when you give love, it comes back to you in greater amounts than you ever gave. I know that to be true because I've lived that my whole life. I've given love. I've given kindness. But the amount of love and kindness and good tidings and good feelings that have come back to me by gazillions outweigh what I ever gave. All right, so I'm home. It's great to be home. The last time I was talking about up-to-date Yankee stuff was weeks and weeks and weeks ago. And nothing has changed. This winter, the Yankees started by making a flurry of moves, and then they stopped. The same thing happened last year. The same thing happened the year before. The same thing happened the year before. The same thing happened the year before. Need I go on? And then the owner of the Yankees, the prestigious Hal Steinbrenner, sits down and gives an interview. He talks to the media on his own network. And instead of saying, our number one goal is to win, and we will do whatever it takes to win, he criticizes the Los Angeles Dodgers. Oh, my goodness, they spend so much money. We, the New York Yankees, baseball's most prestigious, most valuable franchise, we can't compete. We just can't compete with the Dodgers. They just spend money like it's nothing. They're so good. And so, it's very hard on us other teams to compete against those Dodgers. And then he says, I know they have a great team, but maybe they won't be healthy. If they're not healthy, then maybe they won't compete. Let me ask you this. If the Dodgers have a major injury, is it more likely or less likely that the Dodgers find a way to acquire a player to fill the hole that was just created by the injury? Yeah, I agree. The Dodgers will find a way to fill a hole just created by the injury. Because when you look at the Los Angeles Dodgers, you see a team that cares ultimately about winning. You can't say that about the Yankees anymore. Now, I don't know if Brian Cashman truly understands this as the GM, and I don't know if Hal Steinbrenner truly understands this as the owner. But I'm going to give a quick and simple history lesson. The Yankees were an also-ran team. They sometimes competed, but they were never great. They were never in the World Series until the owner, Jacob Rupert, acquired Babe Ruth and other great players, but until he acquired Babe Ruth from the Red Sox. And then all of a sudden, the Yankees appeared in the World Series in 1921 and 1922. Then they built Yankee Stadium and they went to the World Series in 1923 and won. Then they missed for a couple years, went back in 26, lost, won in 27, won in 28. I'm not going to go through all the years that they won. They won 4 World Series in the 1930s to end that decade. They won numerous World Series in the 1940s. They end the 1940s by starting the first of 5 consecutive World Series victories that take them into the 50s. They go to 4 straight World Series to start the 1960s, and then it all comes crumbling down. After 1964, the Yankees don't make it to the World Series again for a long, long time. And much of that time, they were owned by CBS. Sort of absentee owners, if you will, that didn't really care about what the Yankees did. And they were losing money. And then they were sold to a man named George Steinbrenner. And George said, I have one goal. I'm going to make the Yankees great again. That was 1972 or 1973. By 1976, the Yankees were in the World Series. They won the World Series in 1977. They won the World Series in 1978. The 1980s weren't great, but the Yankees were better in the 1980s than people realize. George Steinbrenner in that time does face 2 suspensions. We're not going to whitewash the history. He comes back from the second suspension, I believe, a changed man. And then the Yankees start acquiring the players they need and keeping the youngsters they should keep. Guys like Derek Jeter, Jorge Posada, Andy Pettitte, Mariano Rivera, Bernie Williams, and other role players who are young like Ricky Leday and Shane Spencer and Ramiro Mendoza. And all of a sudden, they make it to the World Series and they win it in 96. They go back in 98, 99, 2000. They win 3 World Series in a row, the last team in any sport to have a three-peat, though the Chiefs might do that this year. Then the first decade of the 2000s saw the Yankees get close, fail numerous times. They won it all in 2009, and they haven't won it all since. Now, I don't know if Hal Steinbrenner truly realizes this, but he took over as the owner of a franchise whose history, except for one period in the mid-60s to the mid-70s, owned by CBS primarily, he took over a franchise that, except for that little period, defined itself, because even when the Yankees weren't winning in the 80s, they still defined themselves. And the early 90s, they still define themselves as the team that's going to go for it all. And while they weren't successful, they did eventually figure out a way. And they got back, and they established this dominance that's been absent ever since. Does Hal Steinbrenner realize that his legacy as the owner of the Yankees isn't one that fits in the mold of Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig and Joe DiMaggio and Mickey Mantle and Reggie Jackson and Thurman Munson and Greg Nettles and Roy White and Derek Jeter and Mariano Rivera and Tino Martinez and Paul O'Neill and Bernie Williams? And others, of course, in all those eras, but you get the idea. Those were all defined, those eras were all defined by world championships. I'll say it again, world championships. We had an interesting discussion on Start Spreading the News last week. Does Aaron Judge ever get on the Yankee Mount Rushmore with Gehrig, Ruth, DiMaggio, and Mantle? And as of now, no, he does not. Why doesn't he make it there? It's very simple why he doesn't make it there. He has no rings. That's partially his fault, but it's partially the fault of the owner and the general manager, who haven't given Aaron Judge great teams. The poor man can't do it alone. Now, granted, he hasn't been great in the postseason, but he can't do it alone. And the legacy for Aaron Judge right now isn't an inner circle, super duper, legendary, great Yankee. It's a second tier, super fantastic, great baseball player. But the Yankee tradition is winning. That's what the Yankees are all about. And for Aaron Judge, unfortunately, he doesn't have that. And Hal Steinbrenner's legacy right now is of an owner who has never won. Now, I know some people will say, well, he did win in 2009. No. That was at the very end of George Steinbrenner's life, and the Yankees went all in that year to win the boss one last World Series. that was really George's team as far as I'm concerned. But since then, with Hal in charge, it's nothing. No rings, no pennants. I mean, a pennant, American League pennant. They did go to the World Series last year, but no rings, no world championships. From the advent of Babe Ruth until today, there was the CBS years where the Yankees didn't win World Series. And then there's the Hal Steinbrenner years where the Yankees haven't won World Series. That's it. You're not with Jacob Rupert, your father, Dan Topping and Del Webb, and all the other people who are executives with the Yankees, George Weiss, etc. Ed Barrow. The Yankees, whose mission it was to win World Series. That's the Yankee legacy. That's how the Yankees sell themselves, always, even today. The Yankees, the team of championships. Yeah, no, they're not. I'm sorry. The Yankees can try that. It doesn't work. It doesn't mean anything. And I've said this for years. Derek Jeter today, to the young fans of today, even to fans my age, is as relevant as Reggie and Mickey Mantle and Yogi Berra and Whitey Ford and Joe DiMaggio and Babe Ruth. It's old-fashioned. It's long ago. Yeah, Derek Jeter was great. Yup. Mariano Rivera was great. Yup. Jorge Posada was terrific. Those days are long, long gone. And the legacy, Hal Steinbrenner's legacy, is the owner who wasn't able to bring home a world championship, despite being baseball's most valuable franchise. We go through this all the time, by billions of dollars. And then you get him on his network with Meredith Marakovich, and he's like, instead of saying, you know what, I don't care what the Dodgers are doing. We are going to build a great team, and we're going to compete with them. Hey, Dodgers, we're the Yankees. Your next world championship goes through us. That's the way the Yankees used to be. They used to be, we are the Yankees. Now they're, well, we're going to try. We'll do our best. But my goodness, those Dodgers, they spend so much money. I don't think we can compete. It's really embarrassing for the Yankees. And history will judge this era as ultimately a disappointing period in Yankee history. And when they talk about who is the general manager, they'll mention Brian Cashman. And when they mention who was the owner, they'll mention Hal Steinbrenner. And that'll be their legacies. Unless they start saying we need to put the best possible team on the field. We have the resources. And every single year, they make a couple of moves in the beginning of the winter and basically promise more. We're not done yet. Remember the year Brian Cashman said, we are going to be a fully operational Death Star. And then they go out, they put Isaiah Kiner-Falefa in center field. Right now, the Yankees do not have a third baseman. They have not had one for years, a quality third baseman. They got Jazz Chisholm, who did okay there last year. But they also don't have a second baseman, so Chisholm goes to second, leaving third base open. They don't have a third baseman. Nolan Arenado supposedly needs to be traded. Alex Bregman is out there. Other guys who could have filled the role have been signed by other teams. And then the comment from the Yankee owner is, well, you know, those Dodgers, they spend a lot of money and we have a salary cap. I said this at the beginning of the off season. My son Ethan and I who run the site, start spreading the news, said, you know what? Let's get season tickets next year. Now, we can't get to a whole lot of games. I have to be honest. It's a pain in the neck when you live in northern New Jersey to go to a Yankee game. And it's not cheap. And I know all the secret ways around the Bronx to get into the stadium and all that kind of stuff. But you put the car in the parking garage, there's $50. There's the George Washington Bridge. There's the traffic. It's a pain. But you know what? I love going. So you put up with the pain. But I don't want to go to 81 games or 50 games or even 20 games. But we were settling on a package, one of the small Yankees season ticket packages. We're like, you know what? Let's do it. The Yankees seem to really care. And I said, if they re-sign Juan Soto, I will buy a season ticket package, a small one. I used to be a season ticket owner with a small package. I used to have a small select number of games. But then Hal Steinbrenner, around 2012, when my oldest son was getting ready for college, Hal said, you know, I really have to start watching our dollars. And then I said, so do I. Now, notice the Yankees haven't won a World Series since he started saying that kind of stuff. And what did he do the other day? He said the same kind of stuff. You know, that luxury tax is tough. Tough luxury tax. Well, Mr. Steinbrenner, you drive away fans like me who've been loyal fans since 1977. And I say, I'm not spending my hard-earned money and putting up with that commute into the Bronx and the Major Deegan Expressway or the Harlem River Drive or the Little George Washington Bridge, if you know what I'm talking about. Like, I'm not going to put up with all that and pay $50 to park in one of those garages and then sit in the garage traffic after the game and get on the Deegan and loop around and, like I say, the Harlem River Drive and all that kind of stuff. I'm not going to do that. If I don't believe the Yankees aren't fully invested in winning. And guess what? I've said it here. I think the Yankees this winter are going to go for it. And then they're not. And then the owner says, you know, don't really want to spend. I shouldn't have to spend $300 million to build a great team. And in that, he's basically right. He shouldn't. But he allowed his GM, Mr. Cashman, to make dumb moves. So many people thought re-signing DJ LeMahieu was brilliant. Well, we're getting, a 90 million guy over 6 years. He should be more expensive, but he spread it out over many years so that the luxury tax hit is less. Well, that didn't help them win a World Series, did it? Now we still have him for 2 more years. He's washed up. And we still have him. We're still on the hook, the Yankees, for $30 million. So he's worth so much money, we can't cut him. So they're actually thinking about making that their third baseman. Or Oswald Peraza and Oswaldo Cabrera as a platoon. And then you say, I don't really feel they're serious about winning. They're serious to a point. And then when it gets to a certain point, they say, you know what? We don't want to spend any more money. No. And so I was ready to buy a season ticket package. I was ready. I was all set to buy a season ticket package. And then the Yankees, like they've done every single winter, let me down. No, we're not going to build the best possible team. We'll build a team that's very good. We'll build a team that's competitive. We'll build a team that possibly could make it to the World Series, but we're not going to build the best possible team. That's the way the old Yankees operated. They said winning was most important. By the way, they won lots of World Series and when they did that. But They don't say that anymore. They say, we're committed to win, but only to a point. And they say, well, the Dodgers spend too much money. We can't compete with them. The Yankees, oh my goodness. We say this every winter. Well, I was ready. I would have had some season tickets. I would have bought a package of season tickets. But they let me down again. So no, I'm not giving them my money. I'll go to a game or two, maybe. I'll watch. I love the Yankees. I'll hope they win. But when balls go through third base that should be caught, and when Oswaldo Cabrera, who's a great reserve player with lots of energy, and I love the guy, but he shouldn't be starting at third base or even part of a platoon, or Oswald Peraza or DJ LeMahieu go 0 for 4, I'll say, yep, that's what the Yankees are paying for. No wonder they're not winning. What a surprise. You know, last year the Yankees did make it to the World Series, but it was like one of those years when a guy you never heard of gets a shot, and I don't really follow boxing anymore, but you'll get the illusion. Gets a shot at the heavyweight title because all the other contenders are injured or they've already lost, or it's just one of those periods of time when there's just not a lot of great fighters. And so a guy gets a shot. That was the Yankees last year. They beat up on some Palookas, right? They beat up on some teams in the playoffs that really weren't very good. And the Yankees weren't very good. They spent a lot of time losing last year in the summer. It's just that the Orioles were worse. It wasn't that the Yankees were better. And they made it to the World Series, and the Yankees are hanging their hats on that, saying, we made it, baby. We made it to the World Series. But it wasn't an impressive making it to the World Series. And one of the guys who got them there, and again, I understand why they didn't want to pay Juan Soto $500 gazillion. But they should have pivoted and said, let's build a complete team so next year, meaning this coming year, we can get to the World Series with the best possible product we can put out there. But they never do that. And I hear from lots of Yankee fans who have every year grown more and more discouraged and frustrated and angry with the team. They're saying, I'm not going to any games. I'm not paying money to go there. I'm not giving Hal Steinbrenner and the Yankees any more money. Not until I see that they're really committed. And I understand the $300 million thing, but if you've spent too much money on other players, well, then you can't say we're only going to spend $300 million. We're spending a lot. Yes, but you're spending foolishly. Right now, you're going to have to spend more than $300 million. You made that situation. We didn't. Anyway, maybe, just maybe, by the time we come on next week, the Yankees will have done something to make the team really good and complete as we head closer and closer to spring training. Hey, by the way, next February 8th, Sabre Day for the Northern New Jersey Elysian Fields chapter at Hinchcliffe Stadium. In the afternoon, a special program on Larry Doby. There will be ads on Start Spreading the News. Check it out. Sabre Day, February the 8th, Paterson, New Jersey, a tribute to Larry Doby. My dear friends, that's the half hour. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being with me. Enjoy yourself. Spread the love. Spread goodness. Spread kindness. Have yourselves a wonderful